How's it going, everyone? My name is DrapPep. Welcome back to another installment of this series. One of my favorite shows is The Walking Dead. Oh my god, I love The Walking Dead. I remember when that series was being aired on TV and on AMC, and I just remember trying to get everyone to watch it. A few of my friends got into it eventually, and a lot of them stopped before Negan. And I was like, no, you need to keep watching up to that point at least. But not everyone enjoys zombie like things. Not everyone enjoys watching shows where people are being devoured by zombies. Now, of course, I've mentioned in past episodes that I love zombie stuff. I read zombie books and video games, and I watch zombie movies and TV shows and cartoons. I love it. It's one of my favorite genres. But I never explained why. You see, I love apocalyptic themed stuff. I love it when it's dystopia or if it's the end of the world because it shows humanity strive for survival. And that is fun. I love that. My favorite kind of dystopia or apocalyptic themed is when it's the last person on Earth. That's it. There's no one else. It's one of the reasons why I love the movie 28 Days Later. Because it starts off like that. Right? He wakes up, no one's there. No one's anywhere. He's calling out for help, no one's around. He goes outside, he's trying to pick up the news to figure out what's going on. Why is there no one around? He's trying to find food and water because he's thirsty and hungry. He has to figure out, piece things together by himself because there's no one around. Nowhere. Until he finds the infected. Then it shows why everyone's missing. Then he finds survivors. And then he tries to build some kind of safety net for himself. That's fascinating to me. Especially that concept of waking up and not knowing what's going on. There's no one around. For episode 1 of The Walking Dead, kind of starts off like that. You have Rick Grimes in the hospital. He's waking up, very similar to 28 Days Later. He's looking around. He has no concept of what's going on. No one's around. He's calling out for the nurses. He was shot during a chase and goes into a coma. And the last thing he remembers is his partner, Shane, trying to talk to him. And when he wakes up, he's replying to the last question that was asked him, only to see that Shane's not there. It is empty. No one's around. He starts finding dead bodies everywhere. And he starts freaking out because some of the dead bodies are still moving. That is amazing. That feeling of waking up and not knowing what's going on, that's the reason why I love the apocalyptic films where it's the last person alive. No one's around. It's just them. So right off the bat, The Walking Dead had something I really love, my favorite genre, right off the bat. The fact that they then had, zombies. I mean, obviously there's going to be zombies, but the zombies were just icing on the cake. That moment of him trying to find his family, they honestly should have kept that going. That should have been the drive of the first season of him trying to find his family. I do love the fact that eventually he does find his family pretty quickly and that it just progresses to the show naturally. But that was so good. Especially the scene where he gets stuck in a tank and he doesn't know what to do and he hears the one voice on the radio. That, I was hooked. I was hooked immediately. Another thing that I really like from different kinds of apocalyptic games, this isn't really apocalyptic, but it's close enough for I feel like it should be. Destroy All Humans. And that's a game where you play as, I think it's a Martian. I have no memory of where they come from. I don't know where what's his name, Crypto. I don't know where he comes from, but it's the idea of an alien invasion, but instead of sending a whole fleet, they just send one, right? And he you get to play as this alien that comes down to Earth, and he's destroying buildings, and he's abducting people, and he has powers. Now, something like that really kind of just resonates with me. I've played games very similar to that, like Katamari, because in Katamari you could do almost the same thing where you're kind of gathering things from a ball and you're gathering people and buildings, but it doesn't have that impact that Destroy All Humans has. Godzilla has a little bit of that, where you can destroy some of the buildings, but the focus really is you're fighting other kaijus. But Destroy All Humans truly has that aspect that's just perfect. Like it just really tickles the part of my brain that loves those kinds of genres. And of course, there's the zombie gun where you can turn people into zombies and create a whole zombie apocalypse. So that's kind of cool too. There's another game called I think it's called Infection or Infector. I'm kind of brain fogging on the name of that game, but in that game, you're creating a zombie apocalypse where you are spreading the virus and trying to take over the whole city, which also has a very appeal to me because of the whole zombie apocalypse thing, since I'm a huge apocalyptic fan. Another fantastic video game that I really love is I think it's called Zed the Zombie, where you play as a zombie and the objective is to infect other people until you create the zombie apocalypse. And that's a fun one. I'm pretty sure I'm messing up the name, but I know it's something the zombie. I just can't remember the first the first part of that name. But The Walking Dead has a lot of those elements. You have the last person on Earth at the beginning of the series. You have the zombie apocalypse, and then you have Fear the Walking Dead, which it shows how the zombie virus spread, which was amazing that they had that spin-off to add more of the lore. You had people trying to come together to build communities against the undead. Eventually, the undead cease to be a threat to them, and the real threat becomes other people that who are also trying to survive. Outside of my other favorite franchise, Resident Evil, which in my opinion has one of the most epic life cycles of a zombie, I just feel like The Walking Dead has the most realistic when it comes to zombie apocalypses. That just resonates with me, especially with the whole I'm a fan of apocalyptic things and I'm a fan of the last person alive on Earth. More than once, it shows Rick Grimes on his own, which brings me back to my favorite thing of all the times is when it's just one person and there's no one around. And you have to watch that person try to survive. You have to watch that person figure out how's he going to get food? How's he going to get water? He needs to find shelter. He needs to be careful of, the infected. I don't know. To me, that's just the best. I don't know why I like it so much. I've always liked it. Ever since I was a kid, it was my favorite thing ever. I think that's why I like video games like 7 Days to Die, because it's very similar to that. You're on your own. You have to build a shelter. You have to. It's what I like to call the zombie Minecraft, is what I like to call 7 Days to Die, where you have to mine, you have to get minerals, you have to find food. You have a meter on you that shows how infected you are, how healthy you are. You can get cold and get sick. Another game that's very similar to this is DayZ. Very similar. You get sick, you get injured, you have to keep yourself hydrated. It's almost like a perfect zombie simulator. And I feel like The Walking Dead is the show equivalent of DayZ, or the show equivalent of 7 Days to Die. Where Resident Evil has some of the coolest mechanics for zombie viruses, The Walking Dead has some of the coolest apocalyptic themes that I love so much about the zombie genre. I can honestly go on for hours about how much I truly love zombies. Not because of the whole gore, not because of the undead aspect, but more than that. About watching people trying to survive, watching people coming together against like a very losing battle against zombies. I can never get enough of talking about zombie related things because there's a lot that I enjoy from it. One of the things that I love for my collection is very off topic, and I know I'm coming close to the end of the video, but one of my favorite things in my collection is Max Brooks. If you don't know who Max Brooks is, he wrote the book World War Z and the Zombie Survival Guide. I love both those books, and I almost feel like I want to do a separate episode because there's a lot I want to talk about Max Brooks and in his work. But a lot of times, whenever I look at something that's zombie related, I always kind of compare it to what Max Brooks made. Because I feel like Max Brooks has a decent grasp of how zombies should be. And I feel like everything that Max Brooks wrote fits The Walking Dead to the letter. Perfect. A high score, in my opinion. Even if you don't like The Walking Dead, I still say you should at least give the first season a try. Because it's so good. Sure, it kind of gets a little abstract towards the later seasons, but that first season, that's what got me hooked, especially that first episode. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. I truly wish I can spend more time talking about zombies. I'm probably going to do another episode just on Max Brooks alone, just because I love his work so much. But I just want to thank everyone for tuning in.